We are live now.
Yeah.
Hello,
Oh,
everyone.
hi.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 59th episode of
Uh,
DevKami, and I'm Chileum.
and I'm Xingming.
Yeah,
And inside
Tris-
here is Yamper.
yeah.
But
Tuesday is not around because
awesome.
he's actually practicing for the singing for Frozen 2.
Yes, so Tristan is actually part of a choir, young Malaysian singers.
Yeah.
Very good, very awesome group. And they actually got asked to perform for our Frozen 2. So, yeah, he'll be busy. So, that's that. So, let's
What's going
start with
on?
our meetups then. So, on Saturday, this weekend, at Telegram Pub Malaysia, we have a Unix for Dummies workshop. This is actually happening at Asia Pacific University at Telegram Pub Malaysia.
So, which
Uh,
Unix they are gonna cover?
I have no idea. More likely it'll be Linux, but I don't
It
know.
seems to be a lot of GNU tools.
Yes,
I think
of
it.
course it will
I
be.
mean, yeah, it
Yeah,
should be GNU tools, not actually Unix utilities.
yes.
Unix are a bit.
What's the difference?
Unix
Good.
works differently.
Yes, but if you're a Mac user, you will see the difference. So the next one is Tuesday. Tuesday we actually have Golang Meetup, the
Yep.
anniversary edition. How old is Golang anyway?
It's 10 years old now.
Damn,
Yeah.
I feel
Everything
old.
is old. Yeah.
So, do you know what actual time on Tuesday, and where?
It's gonna be it's the default one is 7 p.m. at Taksuri.
Yep,
Uh,
right.
let's see what we. I actually haven't set up the page yet. It's a bit last minute.
Okay. And at the same
So.
time, we actually had a Laravel developer meetup.
Oh really?
This is
Oh,
actually happening at 6:30 p.m. at Work
okay.
KL.
Okay.
What?
Used to be uh I guess that organized a Laravel meetup.
Right.
So I think it's another community.
Cool. And
Yeah.
which is a good thing because you don't have to have one person
Yeah.
do everything.
Yep.
So this one
Supposed to
is
grow.
on Tuesday.
Yep.
Correct. So this one on
Yeah.
Tuesday on Work and Care Gateway. This is actually across the university station,
Yep.
LRT station. So if you're into Laravel, join them.
Yep.
Then on Wednesday we have KLJS, detail
Yep.
unknown.
I know. Yeah, we have to check it out.
But if you're interested to know when and get more details and getting update, you should actually look at devkami.com/meetups.
Yep.
So then I think that's about it. A bit of a dry season.
Oops.
I think it's okay. We still have 1 month left. So yeah. So we should move on to
Bus comments.
yes, our bus corner. What is Buzzy?
I have no idea.
Let's see. Oh, actually, a few things happened actually. From interesting and not so interesting. One interesting one is Docker is bought by. Okay, this we actually I talked about this last week, but Docker is actually bought by a company that is specialized in OpenStack.
Hey.
So what happened is then there will uh, Docker Swarm will be less supported, and as even they are moving to Kubernetes now.
Yeah.
So yes, interesting time.
Yeah. A bit of unfortunate for Docker, but it's
Yeah.
necessary. For me, I don't like Docker Swarm. It's like
Yeah.
another fragmentation, but let's see how it goes.
Yes. Then the next one is we have oh I'm on Linux for a while, and Linux recently launched S3 compatible object store. So even one of these days, even I will have to go to the 21st century now.
Yep. Yeah. As
Uh,
a
I
as a
use
user, it's actually fine.
really.
as long as you don't have to set it up, it's actually fine.
Okay. So the thing
It's
is,
the
I need to
maintenance of
set it.
it's the maintenance of the cluster that is painful.
Right. Okay.
Mm.
So then we have S3. Then we have Badger DB. You know it's Badger DB?
Sounds familiar. What does it do?
Apparently, Badger DB is an open source distributed native graph database. Graph database previously it's not of many graph databases. You have Neo4j, very well known. If you use Panama paper, you'll read about Panama paper. They actually use Neo4j heavily. Then previous one there's a thing called graph database. I forget the name. It's written in English. I forget. Uh, Allegro, was it Allegro? I believe it's Allegro DB. Uh,
Yeah.
Not many people use that anymore. Originally, that one is actually used because of the thing called semantic web, because semantic web talk about relationship objects. Nowadays, when we talk about GraphDB, it tends to mean Neo4j. And we don't, otherwise, you may have
I
to
mean,
actually implement
yeah,
your own or use a plugin.
the traditional
Yes,
one is Neo4j.
yeah. And there's one more that not many people remember now. So, yeah, very interesting time because I personally like graph databases because I used to be actually used to spend time on the transparency environment, environment transparency, and one of the best way to track monitor is actually through graph. Graph here means network nodes and whatnot, not pictures and whatnot. So that can make very cool pictures. So
So it's a
from
year end
there,
season. As usual,
yes,
things are going a bit slow. Uh,
correct.
I've been off work as well, like so also off internet. That means off internet for me. But scrolling through is there's actually quite a lot of if there's a lot of competition for what we call attention economy.
Yes.
So in terms of there's a lot of games and a lot of TV series and movies coming out.
Correct.
So what are the notable one for you? Like as
So uh, there's actually a few that attract my attention. Quite a lot actually.
actually,
Uh,
I'm actually was reading the just managed to read the random board of Genius Mind Stack channel.
okay.
So
So one thing that attract my attention now is actually computer games. So because I'm a Switch player, I got Pokemon Sword and Shield. And
mm,
now I only have Sword. I don't have Shield. I'm not that
yeah.
rich. Uh, I
But
don't hate. I don't hate it, but I think I do not know what is also. I believe there's an interesting story behind it, but let's start with the backstory. Pokemon Sword is actually a version of Pokemon for new generation hardware, uh, which I need to go a bit further. Traditionally, Pokemon are built only for handheld, and again, when Nintendo have handheld, they're usually a bit slower. Uh, and in the early days of Game Boy, they are the only players because there's no such thing as a portable device. You have the Walkman, and that's about it.
yeah,
Okay, so at the time, Game Boy is very powerful, and up until the DS, then the DS, and they still are. They are comparable to a smartphone at that time. But
it's a console equivalent of more slow catching up. So
correct,
there's more release in shorter time.
correct. Then what happened is on 3DS time, what I think interesting happened is the smartphone take over and all that. But that's not relevant to this. It's just a sidetrack. Uh, it's interesting, but the older hardware and smaller scale is very interesting because Game Freak, the creator of Pokemon, uh, usually have that traditionally they have to deal with older generation hardware compared to modern day
Yep.
smartphones, and as a result, they can cut away features that should make sense for limited hardware. So, for
Yeah.
example, uh, nowadays, when you play a big console, you actually expect things like voiceover. Very obvious, right? You don't need to
Yeah.
talk. Older hardware limitation, you can make do without it, and people actually forgive you for that. Uh, you can have let's see 3D environment and all that. Traditionally, your hardware is big and all that. So SWOT is actually a different, yeah, because the Switch is essentially your 1 or 2 generation old tablet.
Yeah,
Not
but
just a
for
tablet; it's a Tegra tablet. Tegra tablet. So it's actually for multimedia, as Chilean has said, and
yeah,
also multimedia purposes, rendering 3D graphic and all that. They are very capable. It's old, but it's very capable. So of course, modern day is a bit better. But let's not go there. The point is the hardware capable. So why I want to talk about this? So Game Freak, the company, make a very interesting game that experiment into 3D environment, something that true 3D environment. In the old days, when you play Pokemon, it's a semi-fixed perspective. You can't see the whole world. Uh, really, you can see only limited one because hardware limitation. Modern day RPG allows you to see pretty far away with the whole environment. They actually managed to do that and actually very smart. And they also have Pokemon running around. I should share. We share some gameplay video later. I don't think I can share here. So you actually can see Pokemon running on the grass and all that because modern hardware can do that now. But that means a lot of obvious things. For example, there's no voiceover. The person talk and talk and talk, but there's no voiceover.
yeah.
Okay, there's no voiceover, so
I
that
heard
means
there's
that it's
a
very good.
I heard there's a less Pokemon support as well.
What?
I heard
Oh yeah,
them
correct. So also one more thing that they have is they have full 3D rendering of a Pokemon, one of those creatures. Meaning you can actually turn around will actually have a very 3D model. The thing is, as a result, they also cut off a number of what we call traditional Pokemon. Those are the in the old games they actually include all the models. Imagine that they actually redo from the early Game Boy day where the pixels are simple black and white to color, they redo it. Then from color, they bring to the 3 DS. They also redo because they have higher capacity of pixels and all.
Mm.
Right? They managed to do this, but for this one, they did not do this at all. So it made the fan very angry because now you can't get all the Pokemon that I want,
Yeah.
and all that. But what does it mean for software development? Well, believe it or not, it's actually I believe it's actually very similar to how we do program. It goes like this. Uh, Game Freak are very well known for their own older console with a limited environment. They have their own mindset of building hardware. And a DS, 3DS, and all that is very similar-ish actually. Uh, if you read, you should actually watch a video by E3. If I, not E3, Chaos Communication Congress, C3, Triple C, Nintendo. When they do reverse engineer, the hardware and all that is relatively simple. So I'll share it later.
But it
Uh,
also means that it's easier to program with
Correct.
compared to
So
other previous proprietary system.
correct. And this one is got more environment. They actually for first time Nintendo actually allow us to allow developer to use Unreal Engine and whatnot. Now, is I believe what I suspect is happening is something similar to imagine you are a WordPress developer. Suddenly you realize that WordPress doesn't work as well, and your customer say, "Let's build a website in Ruby because that's a hot thing." Now your environment is very different now.
Yeah.
The type of thing that you have to do is very different now. Yes, you're now not limited by WordPress. Have to fit the WordPress framework, but now you have to relearn a lot of stuff. You have to think a lot of stuff and whatnot. Uh, it occurs to me. it occurs to me the project team might have this problem. Uh, a lot of things that it seems obvious that the log missing. For example, if WordPress you do properly, you don't even touch the database, so you're relatively secure and all that. Suddenly, you have to deal on database, then you have a lot of mistake being done, raw SQL or whatnot, for PHP or whatnot. Maybe it's not for Rails, but uh, it's one of those things where you switch to different environment. Now things are a little different. More common one is you're a web developer and you are forced to build native mobile application. Same situation. Things change. It's very different. And
I think they get used to a slower slower console also like code base change. They can reuse most of it, but for a new platform, they have to redo a lot of stuff. And I think somehow they underestimated the efforts, just like everybody else.
Correct. So in this case, they have to redo the asset. A lot of the asset need to be redone. I mean, asset I mean here is the picture and the 3D models.
Even importing it and cram it into the game is actually not a straightforward work.
Yes. And actually, Nintendo developer is very well known to able to squeeze a lot of stuff in small games.
Yep.
Very impressive. So there's that. So either way, I have two comparisons of a very good game. This one, on the other hand, is very good. This one, I hope they got patched for it, but I love Pokemon and fanboy. So.
Yep.
And also, as a business, Pokemon is also very interesting. It's effectively a captured market.
Yep.
Meaning, the fans, aka me,
they're gonna buy it anyway.
Yes.
And they're gonna buy the console just for the game.
Yes. And even though Pokemon don't change that much, and sometimes it's not really that good, but it is what it is. To prove a point, I bought Pokemon Sun, then I also bought Ultra Sun. Then I realized that Ultra Sun is actually the same as Pokemon Sun.
Really?
I thought it's that's what it is. With extra stuff.
What are the extra stuff they put in?
Newer evolution and all that, but the story is precisely the same.
Oh, okay. So it's like a bummer.
Yeah, it's a bummer. So either way, this is the one that I like. This other one that I like. This one actually did everything very well. Luigi Mansion.
Luigi Mansion is very well optimized.
Yes, very well optimized.
I actually was really surprised of the game quality because I expected like some of the game from that released like Zelda Link of Awakening, some of the Unreal Engine one they cannot sustain the correct frame rate and stuff. But
correct.
I didn't say Luigi is actually made in Unreal, but I feel the previous game that I played were having a frame rate issue. But in terms of quality and level design, Luigi is a really it was a really surprise for me. It's a good surprise.
Yeah.
And I like how they spend so much effort into like putting in all the hidden stuff. They are very well thought.
So yeah, let's see. Aha. I hope this is the one. Sorry, I tried to find a video on. Try to find a video on the Nintendo hacking one just because it's interesting. Yeah. So on media side, that's what I've been digest for the past few days, and also the whole thing is I think the gaming industry is very interesting because they're not just software development as they're also primarily a media company that happens to have a lot of software development.
Yeah, and plus hardware is a lot of hardware is also a lot of uncertainties. So.
Correct. So as a result, when you see VPC developer have it easy. No, we web developer have it very easy.
Yeah.
One, we don't actually care about hardware, and second, we don't have to touch about hardware and worry about version because our web application. Okay, thanks to x86, more likely anytime we run our code, our Python code written like 2-3 years back on the laptop, we will literally can run it on. We can literally run it on Amazon cloud and you don't actually care about the hardware. Web developers like us are actually very lucky. The deep learning guys is not so lucky, but they have a standard interface, TensorFlow and all that. It would work. Game development is very different. Game development, you will have to learn intricacy of the framework very differently, and those things are very hardware specific. For example, our website, believe it or not, our website very slow, just literally slow loading. In a game when it's slow, it literally very janky, frame rate drops, and to optimize it, you literally have to rewrite some of the code so that it can fit the hardware. You should look at some of the older code by. It's also crazy now, but you can find John Carmack code on how to calculate.
There's a few good articles about like is hacks in computer
Yes,
in video programming from on the Kama Sutra website.
yes,
So yeah, very interesting. Like how much because they have a lot of constraints, so they have to fit a lot of stuff into that, and a lot of time, especially for games, is I mean, as long as you can fool the perception of the player, it's
yes,
acceptable. So a lot of the time, it just looks just like Kamak's ray tracing. It look like 3D, but it's actually not.
yes. So it's game technology push very fast, and the tolerance is lower as a result. The user experience for it is lower as a result. The optimization is a lot harder. Our web developers, for like us, we have ways to optimize in a way that we buy more hardware. So it's very different way of thinking. Which is why I do respect game developers. Uh, but now this is easier, it's very optimized, but you still have to think about low level code. Oh yeah, talk about game. What else I want to talk about game? Oh yeah. Anything else I want to talk about game before we go on?
No, yeah, just go on. I just want to
Uh,
highlight the complaint is it's a capture market, so might as well put
yeah,
more effort into the game. So do not take the fans for granted.
yes. And one thing about I don't like about the gaming community is they are very polarized. They are very extreme. So, uh, no offense, I think the Pokemon is actually Pokemon game is still a good game. It's not 100% good game, but it's good enough. Uh, so
But I can say because I've been holding myself of not getting it because for me for 2019 it's the worst AAA game that is released
yeah,
for me.
correct. For the they didn't actually did a good job for this. So unfortunately, there's it's good, but it's not great. Okay,
Yeah.
but I got feeling this one can be fight with who's the uh, Death Stranding. At least Death Stranding is beautiful, even though the story weird. It's weird.
Yeah. But they get good writings.
Correct, correct.
The storyline is
So yes, Pokemon. Yeah, it's
it's
okay.
Red Dead Stranding is like very weird because you cannot treat it as the game itself is pretty bland, but the storyline is for I don't know whether you can classify that as a movie, interactive movie.
You should think about it. I suspect you think about it like art movie.
Yeah,
Those you watch for a watch. The one that watch at Canes and all that. Is that's kind of story. They try
yeah.
to do that kind of story. So yeah. So if you are interested in other game like game design, postmortem, and all that, I post a link on DevKami group. Uh, okay, so where I like to
That's
share
it.
the postmodern design. Game design is not just like it's actually uh, the it's again say many times, but a lot of it, whether good or not, is something that you feel, but there is a story behind it, right? Uh, It's very interesting. If you look at frame game, try look at it, see what's the thinking behind it. Occasionally, you find something interesting and things that you never thought about. So for Pokemon, there's a reason why they do things that way. It's mostly hardware, but how do they make hardware to fit at a small environment? That is an art by itself. Then Luigi is not, but they got within the video they shared, they got the game called Into the Breach. Then they go to design of how do you make a game that with perfect information. You should learn about it. Game design is very interesting. So anything else that you digest recently, Julia? Media that you digest recently? I digest.
And the latest season of Rick and Morty is released.
Oh, okay. Is it good?
Up to you. It's pretty subjective. For me, it's okay.
Okay.
I also be following up with the Watchmen TV series.
Okay.
So I like it.
All right.
So far, I like it so far.
Okay.
It's actually not the story of Watchmen, but more like the sometime after the main plot, like 20 to 30 years after the main plot happened. So it's like a spin-off, but the story is pretty okay.
Okay.
So far.
For me, the thing that I've been on my list, I have a lot on my list on movie side as well. I was supposed to watch. I promised myself to watch Jack Ryan. There's a Tom Clancy. It's a character based on Tom Clancy. So what happened is it's on Amazon Prime. Jack Ryan is actually
the Tom Cruise movie, right?
Tom Clancy. It's a series actually.
Yeah, but it was a movie series as well, right?
Correct. So it's a character that got adapted into movie. Then this Amazon adapted into TV series. It's also very interesting because Tom Clancy's story is span multiple novel, which means that each of the novel is effectively a 2-hour movie on its own. There's like 3 movies. It's portrayed by 2 different person. No, 3 different person. You got originally the first one is actually by The Hunt for Red October. That is by Alec Baldwin. Watch Hunt for Red October because even the TV series describes submarine warfare very beautifully. Realistic enough to be believable, but interesting enough to make it in the movie. Tom Clancy is well known for that.
Unfortunately, I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm not a person into like military fictions. Is it something that I can get into, like for people that?
It's not a military fiction as a military. Okay. It's more of security and intelligence, but the person is not James Bond.
Okay.
The TV series tend to put it a bit too much into action and less toward the analyst part, but the first season, that is from last year, currently Jerry is on season 2. It describes how do they use financial transaction to fund terrorism, and from that, how do they use it to actually track to a person. So instead of very macho, shoot everyone like, this Jack Ryan is essentially economics nerd that track financial transaction. But put to my section.
That's how you. Nowadays, that's how you find anomaly.
Correct, but yeah, it's big data and all that, but they didn't go too much into the big data and all that part. Very interesting. Even though they do they use SQL, but the SQL is wrong. So Jack Ryan, I like that. The sound is a bit wrong, which is why I've been procrastinating. Another one I really like to talk about is actually, have you watched Sword Art Online, the anime, before?
Nope.
Okay, Sword Art Online originally is a very simple premise. The premise goes like this. You have a VR device, then the VR device, for some reason, turns out to have a hidden feature that is powerful enough to fry people's brain. So it turns out that the creator of this VR game hacked the feature to make it that if you die in a VR game, you will die for real. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is he removed the lockout button. So if you try to hack the lockout button, you will die. So originally it's really like that. What happened if you die in the virtual world? Uh, I actually try to catch up because there's a new season, but in between, Sword Art Online actually talk into a few. They go deeper into the science fiction. In the first season, they actually talk about what is a sentient entity, because inside the actually Sword Art Online, they have an administrative agent. Think of it like our daemon, but in the game, the daemon is artificial intelligence software with admin command and all that. But the thing is, what is sentience? They go deep into that. Then toward the end of season two, they actually explore the use of uh, a deep VR for people for the idea of critical care hospice. So they actually bring the idea of VR for hospice use. So
What do you mean
basically,
by that?
uh, what if you can use VR and something that can manipulate the brain to actually comfort a dying person? So I find it interesting. But the latest season, it's called Elization, had a very even crazier concept. Take away the scientific mumbo jumbo, but it goes like this: you want to grow artificial intelligence system for use in the real world. Yeah, do you program it like how you do chess, or you train like deep learning? Uh, but if you train deep learning, problem is deep learning require a lot of sample data, uh, which if you want to build a robot is actually very hard. So you use reinforcement learning. Even reinforcement learning you try to grow at a time, but the thing is, it's still too slow because you have to teach multiple things. Inside the story, it goes like this. Even though reinforcement learning is a bit more complicated because it's still task specific. So what they do is they clone the consciousness of babies. Okay, put it in the real world. Why baby? Because adult cannot adopt to the fact that they are cloned. So baby do not know anything. So what happened is they built a society of artificial intelligence people inside a computer game,
But
right?
the foundation is actually the real people's conscience.
Correct. It's a copy, but in this case, it's babies.
Yeah, but
So
let's ignore the the what do you call it, the implementation details. Like, how do you make sure? Because if you copy, how do you make sure that it can grow organically?
correct. So what
Uh,
happened
re-
is in the early days, they actually described that there is people in the virtual world to teach them how to do things, teach the baby from growing up until then. So inside there is this concept. Then from there, they let them grow the communities into 100 people. So now the interesting thing, the sci-fi thing about it is now that they virtually had a virtual world with artificial intelligence, with artificial society, and they do not touch anything. And they also have very interesting implication because if they're sentient for some reason, they can hack. They're also independent and they figure out how to hack the software, the game world. And turns out that when you hack the game world, what you get is magic. So you can imagine SAO, the latest season, is a bit like a reverse matrix. We create an artificial world and watching them to grow so that they can turn into a useful artificial intelligence being. So if you are really into deep science fiction, I recommend, and you like Japanese anime, I really recommend Sword Art Online. The movie is also interesting. Science is wrong, but the premise of there's a movie called Ordinal Scale, which is like which is in between the stories. That one is interesting in a way that what is the moral of trying to rebuild personality. So in the character, the bad guy actually attempt to rebuild personality of his daughter by collecting memory of it to put it into a deep learning machine, mumbo jumbo. It unfortunately didn't go deep enough. The movie didn't go deep enough, but it gave me the idea that yeah, if we have, if you want to build a personality for this, how legal it is. If somebody you have heard someone to build a personality with you to, it didn't go deep enough, unfortunately, but it goes interesting enough. So that's SAO, a Sword Art Online. Highly recommend it if you're into deep science fiction. Uh, then the other one is actually Iron Blooded Orphan, a Gundam. I should share the link soon. It's a Gundam story and all that. It goes a bit deeper. The fact that child soldier and all that, less technical, more
What's the name
interesting on a
again?
horror scale. Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans. I just watch it. I just find it interesting. But Gundam had the
Oh,
same
I think
story.
I watched a few episodes. Like that.
Yes. And finally, the thing that I really want to watch, I need to find time, is actually, have you heard of the documentary series called The Toys That Made Us?
Yep, Netflix, right?
Yeah, season 3 is out.
Yeah, better check it out before it's censored. No, just kidding.
Oh, yeah, we forget to raise about that. The Toys That Made Us is very cool because if you're interested in business history, Toys That Made Us is actually one of the best case study around. They talk about things like where GI Joe come from, why does it go from propaganda into something so crazy, where does Transformers comes from,
You mean G.I.
and
Joe is a propaganda?
it used to be just like a team soldier and all that. Then it expanded into like U.S. government to bad guy, or that. Then I realized that it went a bit too far, so they had to make an enemy worse than the Soviet Union, which is Cobra. So this is from first season. First thing I also thought about like how does Star Wars turns into the biggest toy franchise in the world, and it turns out that they are lucky because at that time when Star Wars in the era where Star Wars was first created, nobody take toys franchise seriously. No one. So they get the franchise at a very cheap price, right? But also it's very interesting because the designer of Star Wars also go abroad to make a very high quality toys, and because at that time George Lucas are still making movies, they have no idea a lot of stuff, so they collaborate together. So and which is why nowadays you got so many versions of Star Wars toy, and most of the people like it. So it's because there's a collaboration and they're lucky. And at that time, also happens to be at the time where nobody take toy business seriously, take a toy business seriously, and to show that it's possible, then yeah, it's just everything in the right place. So of course, made us highly recommend go to watch it. Then of course there's a few other things in between. Then after I read a few books.
I'm
So
catching up on a lot of books. I read a lot of Stephen King nowadays.
okay,
I currently understand while I'm having my flu.
okay. So I hope you can see. Can you see?
Yeah,
Oh, we can't. Oh, you
I can
can't
see
see
a little
me.
bit.
This we got a few. I'm looking. I'm currently reading The Wizard and the Prophet. I
Yeah,
promised myself to read it.
I actually like that analogy.
Uh huh.
Like, there is the solution to solve something. It's not mutually exclusive.
Right.
It
It's
can be
not, and
both.
instead
Like,
it is.
yeah. The perfect analogy, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we try to to oblige like to the moral rules. Just like in order to save the world, we should consume less.
Yes.
Something like that. But for the reason is that we should actually come up with technology to produce greener stuff.
Yep.
Since I mean, I like both analogy. I also like the reason analogy because uh, if the put it is a human, it's not gonna change. Like
Yes.
if you want to like really want to make some change, might as well like the change in terms of how they're gonna consume or what they're gonna
Yep.
consume. because the psychology is that I heard it from somewhere is the 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 moral obligation is and is only good to prevent you to stop you from doing something, not to uh encourage you to do something. So it's good to stop some people from doing something like do not smoke publicly, but
Yeah.
it's very hard to say like yeah, let's clean up the river like something like that.
So yeah, so I'm still on the fifth chapter, but I can see this conflict. But as a technologist, I get one way, and as a recent people that recently thinks that we need to be a bit more careful. So I'm a bit of
Mm.
a mix between a prophet and all that.
Yep.
So yeah, no good answer yet. I can't make a decision yet, but
Yep.
there's I find it interesting.
You can mix and
Then
match.
yes, another book that I actually just finished reading not that long ago. It's actually the wasp that brainwashed the caterpillar. I hope I can open the. Uh, how do I open up the? How do
You
I
want to share the
open
screen
the?
or no, open up the book?
Yeah, I try. I'm trying to find the first. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. The wasp that brainwashed caterpillar.
Yeah,
This is
there
a
are.
relatively cheap book. Relatively cheap book because, uh, but it's also from the author of the science section of Wired. Uh, this book, the first story to give is literally that nature is actually pretty. Even though you use Daiso is interesting, even use an also good word is pretty fucked up. Okay, it's pretty messed up actually. Uh, what does it mean? You have a caterpillar that essentially inject themselves into. No, you have a wasp that inject
Yeah.
themselves into
Wasps are
caterpillars.
assholes. They 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 gonna inject their larva into. They're gonna lay their eggs and
Yes.
make another animals as their host to their
Then
babies.
they're going to eat the lava until this and control them and
Yeah,
all that. Then they burst out of
yeah.
body.
They're an
Uh,
asshole.
yeah, they are pretty messed up. Then they also have a book. They also have things about the mustache toad. Why evolution evolved that way? For example, do you know that some fish actually release millions of fish, and why?
Fish
Because
or eggs or what do you
fish
mean?
literally have millions of spawns swimming. Then only a few will reach the size of a Volkswagen,
Yeah.
and there's a reason for it because if you have a million of them out there, the possibility that a few survive is getting a lot higher.
So
Then
by statistical distribution.
correct. Then there is a so fire ants is actually a problem in the US. So what happened is there's a wasps again. I know they are jerks, they're assholes, but
They're good.
uh, in
But
this case they are useful.
in the world where insect, I mean carnivore insect, they are considered good insects, right?
Yeah,
Insect
yeah,
that
yeah,
eats
yeah, yeah.
insect.
Correct. And also there's cordyceps and all that. We use
Yeah,
that for soup. We Chinese use that for soup, but it's a
yeah.
most looking creature on the planet.
Yeah.
They can
There's a
control the minds of ants.
it's a zombie soup.
Yes.
Yeah, try to do that in
Uh,
Chinese New Year.
yes. I recommend this. I recommend this book because it opens up your mind about the creatures and all that. Yeah, you might get nightmare, but I find it interesting. Then another one I'm reading. Uh, actually, I finished reading. It's actually because internet. Because internet is awesome. Because can I? Let me see if I can. Okay. Because internet by Gretchen McCullough. This is actually evolution. A book about evolution of language. Uh, so people is sometimes people is complaining that not in our circle, but you find people on the internet that complains that internet is ruining our language, right? Turns out that in the beginning of the book, they describe things like language change, and that is given even without the internet. So they describe that language is common, but how language change is really interesting because English change is very different. English from here to Shakespeare is still understandable, but Middle English is ununderstandable. Uh, so it's
They are not exactly
totally
they're not exactly the same language.
correct. So and the book this the author is actually linguist. So she actually described how it works and why. And whereas if you go to Iceland, they probably can understand what the rune stone says.
Yeah.
Uh, I
The
recommend this one
closest.
because it's interesting. Yes. Uh, language. So this one is I recommend this book. You want to think about language and whatnot. Here you are. Oh no, not this one. La, 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 la. Old English. Here you are. There's this YouTube channel called uh, I can't read this. Private. He's a linguist, I believe. He did an interview on Anglo-Saxon English, Old English. I totally cannot understand what they say. So either way, because internet, you want to learn how language work, recommend this. And also finally, emoji is not a language. You cannot form a sentence with emoji.
Or we can
She tried.
after a
Huh?
while. After a while, we can.
No, actually, the author tried to build a presentation using emoji alone.
I think
It
it's going
cannot.
back to emoji is like glyph, so it's like alphabets. You can be evolve into alphabets.
Yeah, it's evolved, but it's not there, which is why, because emoji doesn't cover everything, it's the reason why animated GIF exists, because they can give no context. So, with this book, you want to understand the linguistic of memes, emoji, and whatnot. Highly recommended. It's not the easiest to read, but it's worth reading. Then finally, do I have finally? I might just, this is the last one I will recommend. If I can. Ancestral is not that good.
Okay. Also, meanwhile, a big bad move is going to happen next month.
Yes, unfortunately, I got I'm in financial trouble, so I have to avoid any place where I can spend unnecessary money.
Yeah. Well, if you want to go, I can. I can count. You can count with me.
Yeah, I would just take photo and let's say, hopefully, I can make some pocket cash or something. I doubt it. You know what? We should do a DevKami. We should do a DevKami covers big bad wolf. Oh damn it! Oh, I discovered a new book called "To Be Taught Is Fortunate." Uh, To Be Taught Is Fortunate is a sci-fi novella. Uh, yeah. It's a novella about what it means to be human. To be taught is fortunate. Becky Chambers. So what this author does is, I will share the link. I know I should not share this, but I love to show that because I can see this. It's about space program where you uh, genetically engineered human go to space, right? Go to space, and then they see the world is different than them and how it opened up the eyes to them. Turns out that there is a bigger world outside of us and
Yeah,
full of
definitely.
wonders. So it's a short story. I like this very much. It's also a very optimistic view of the space program. Like everyone support the space programs so much they can literally crowdfund themselves to space, which is a very interesting view. Becky Chambers also wrote a series of books called the Wayfarer series. The Wayfarer series is science
That
fiction, but
sounds familiar. That sounds
it's called
familiar.
yeah
Let me have a look.
Wayfarer.
Right.
Becky Chambers. Uh, oh my goodness. Oh yeah, here you are. So
Wayfarer series.
it's a very human story. I highly recommend this. A lot of the science fiction that I used to read is very macho. You go to the world, you fight alien and all that.
Yeah,
Uh,
like, and you can liberate them.
yes, but uh, this book is actually I like this series because it's a very human story. Yes, they go on adventure, but in the end of the day, they are normal people in a normal world that happens to have normal technology, and they don't want to conquer the world. They just want to get their job done. And sometimes when they do that, and or everyone have baggage, and it's a very human story. So the first book, each of the book of series is about people in an environment try to do their job or live their life but have baggage. First two books is obvious. The last book is a bit not so obvious because it's more like you live in this place. Okay, cool. That's your circumstance. What's your and you try to live through it, but you're not satisfied. That well. So I highly recommend it. It's a very easy read. Uh, I think it's cheap if you can find it. I managed to find it on Kindle. I think there is some of it on Kinokuniya, physical version if you're into that. So
I've been reading. If I want to share, I didn't read that much of. I read science fiction, but they are more towards philosophical than
yeah,
spacefaring. I'll be reading Glass House.
yeah.
Do you know about it?
What
So
is it about?
it's in a way similar to uh, it's where I mean identity.
Uh-huh.
So it's somehow similar to the shit.
Wayfarer.
No, it's one of the Netflix series. I forgot that you can change your body.
Or
The
Altered Carbon.
It's like that, but instead it's like the body that you stick with the identity that is like imprinted to you for
Yeah.
a long period of time. It's like experiments. So
Mm,
you can check it out if
okay,
you want
cool.
to. It's not an easy read. Yeah,
Yeah. So
okay.
what other interesting one you have?
Not so. I mean, science fiction, not so much. I'm mainly on philosophy and fantasy.
Right.
So fantasy is Stormlight Archive.
Uh-huh.
I've been catching up on some of the cliche one like Gentleman Bastards and First Law.
Right.
So yep, different category of what you read.
Yeah, mine by comparison is boring. So
No,
for
it's a
example,
different category.
yes.
um, some say descriptive kind of fantasy, like what you call it, they call it high fantasy, is that it can get really boring because the author actually spend a lot of time trying to build the world. So I
Yes.
like that part, but for a lot of people, that this part is actually very boring.
Yep.
And I also found out recently from another friend is that not everybody is born with a mind's eye.
Yes.
So what mind's eye is actually the ability to visualize something in your mind. So
Right.
apparently, not everybody has this ability. So, in terms of this kind of a world building, it might be a bit. I'm not sure. It might be a bit hard
Right.
for people to picture how is it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I can consider myself to be fortunate to have this ability.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know the feeling because I kind of like this. Which is why people look at me weirdly when I say books is essentially wormhole to an alternate world
Mm.
because we can see the world, but people look at me weirdly.
Oh, you read 72 books.
only.
I can only cover 32 with most of them as comics. I actually finished
Uh,
talking about comics. I finished why the last why
oh, why the
basically
last man?
basically the last guy in the world, and also
Yes.
finished this year. I really like it. It's Sandman by New Game.
Uh huh.
So I really like the story. Like it's
I
a
like Neil
comic, but
Gaiman.
it's a is I like how it's in a way it's a bit touchy feely like about mixing with the real history like historical fiction.
Yep.
So I like to feel like it's also seems to me like because this is one of his early work, it seems to be like aligned or paved the way to his other works afterwards, like the
Right.
American Gods and something.
Yeah.
It's very
I
much
read.
aligned with that.
Yeah. So two books from Neil Gaiman I like that I read last year. Obviously, American God, very good book. Heavy, blasphemous, but very interesting.
You know, it's
I'm 80, so I don't care. But some people
no,
consider 60.
it's actually in a way, if I want to put it, it's very Nietzsche, as in
Yeah.
when I mean for my interpretation for Nietzsche, God is dead is that it's not about I mean whether we kill God or the it's actually a God is a concept, so that we obey to like a social
Yes.
construct and so
Correct.
for people gods different like even for Christianity different people worship it differently. That's why it's how it's depicted. Like Mexican has their own Jesus,
Yes.
so the black people has their own Jesus. So everybody has their own concept of it might be the same name, but the concept is different. So that is actually similar to what happened in Sandman as well. It's just
Right.
a construct.
Okay. Then another one for is actually Norse mythology by Neil Gaiman as well. His interpretation of Norse mythology is very cool. I
So
like
it's
it.
not a fiction. So I haven't read that.
It's a fiction. Think of it like the mythology of the Norse written in his style. Okay, he wrote it, so he has his own interpretation and all that. So I recommend it, highly recommend it. So I know some of you guys are beginning to clear off your leave, and
Yeah,
let's
that's what happened to
say
me. That's how I get disconnected.
let's say you want to have some book that is relaxing but science fiction. Uh, I recommend uh, I recommend this series by Martha Wells, Motherboard Diaries. I may share this a bit way too much, but Motherboard Diaries is interesting because it's about a reasonably competent security board that only want to watch Netflix movie, that only want to watch TV series or their equivalent, rather their equivalent of a TV series, which in a way is very relatable because all I want to do is to watch Netflix. Even though I'm a reasonably competent, I'm not the best programmer around. I'm reasonably competent. In this case, Murderbot is a security robot which have a sense of humor. Reasonably competent, they get the job done. Not the best. Got themselves into trouble, but reasonably competent. Uh, but all she are inside the motherboard consider the herself as a she. Just want to watch this. So all she love to do is to take a ship, take a long trip, and watch in the room or equivalent room. Just watch something the whole day, which is relatable. But it's a very cool story, cool series. It's a light read. The world building is not too deep. There's interesting world, but it's not too deep. A lot of it is about from the perspective of motherboard, which is very good. The first book is better. The second and third book, not the later book is not as good, but then the reason it stays because I already emotionally invested to it because I'm actually essentially the same character. So yeah.
So I think that's about it.
Yeah, that's
Should
about
end
it.
this. Yeah.
So that's all the entertainment that we have,
Yeah.
but I have no idea
Yeah.
how I can spend
We're
so
gonna
much
talk
time.
about like this more like until we figure out something like because
Yes.
we are not doing
So
much.
next week, I got a feeling I might want to start compiling the most interesting thing throughout the year because we literally only have 5 more episodes before end of the year. Let's see what we can do. No guarantee,
Mm.
but it looks interesting enough for me to do. So
No,
that's that.
I think that's about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Say goodbye.
oh, I should do the